You are witnessing the Doctrine of Salvation from the Church of Christ Broadcasting Program, GBN Gospel Broadcasting Network. And this takes 30 minutes because the Church of Christ likes to debate what other religions believe. So they don't just spell out their water baptism and belief that they teach through the water baptism is what they believe you are saved by. They don't just come right out and spell it out. Now this is a video that they are talking about. They are mocking the fact that this Steve Anderson, which his video is only 10 minutes, of course he leaves out water baptism. But he has been baptized numerous times. Pastor Steve Anderson most likely has been baptized more than once, because they still believe that you must be water baptized for a show of faith. So even though he's explaining here belief only saves you, and then you can go murder, he says, you can murder yourself or anyone else, and so he teaches that belief only. And so there's a flaw in his doctrine, but there's also a flaw in these men's doctrine as well. They are talking about Steve Anderson's video, and there are flaws in their doctrine as well. So what I want you to do is I want to show my comment, and I want to put it up here where you can read all of it. This is my comment about their doctrine of salvation. A cleansing has never been referred to as born of water. These men think that John, when it's talking about born of water, is talking about a tub bath. But a cleansing has never been referred to as born of water. Also, Steve Anderson has been baptized most likely more than once as a show of faith. There is no disagreement on the necessity of baptism. So these Church of Christ men are wanting to study with Steve Anderson instead of me. I have a different doctrine, but this Steve Anderson has the same doctrine that they teach. So they're not disputing they don't have a disagreement here over the necessity. Steve Anderson still believes in the necessity of water baptism. He's been water baptized. Neither Steve nor GBN Churches of Christ believe the power to become sons of God that is in Scripture is Genesis 6, sons of God putting spiritualism into us by reproducing with mankind. Jude states that these angels left their estate. Genesis 6 states that they saw women's fairness. So that's how these angels came down and reproduced with us, and there is proof of this in the Scriptures. It says, Jesus said, everyone that would receive him, he gave the power to become sons of God. That's just a little tidbit on my gospel of what of the adoption of sons and the archetypes that we have. Try to read this. It's not focusing well, but this gave us the spiritual attributes that the Christians claim you have by obeying what they say alone. So these Christians here, they believe that if you obey what they say about water baptism or belief, then you're saved and you have spiritual attributes because you're a Christian. But that doesn't explain how atheists have the same spiritual attributes. I will get into that in my next video. I will show my doctrine of salvation. Now, as a note, Jesus' spirit went to paradise and his body was renewed in the earth, in what is called hell, or these men, the Church of Christ, say it's Hades. But also he brought out of hell everyone except the one-talent persons, because Jesus had talked about the one-talent person being the only one to go there. And both Steve and GBN have one point right on this matter, but neither are considering the whole context on this subject. So neither one of these groups of people are considering the whole context and are considering the context of the Bible and things. So stay tuned to my next video that will be entitled the doctrine of possibly the doctrine of salvation, or possibly adoption of sons, or possibly righteous spiritual attributes. So I'm going to think about the name of how I'm going to word this proper evangelism that that is a total contextual proof context study, and not just tidbits of information that are debated, and you know, you have to ask someone whether they agree with it or not.